So I was with a friend of mine this weekend, and we were out, and we ran into somebody else that we knew, and he and I kind of got into it, this other person, and I was being extremely resistant to every idea that he was putting towards me. I don't know what was wrong. I was just in a mood. I wasn't having it. And the guy was not being very nice to me either. And we kept meeting with this like resistance roadblock thing. Like, he was really excited, wanting to show me something. I didn't want to see it. I didn't want to be there. I was just cranky, and it was not good. And I felt very icky about it afterwards. And my friend, my other friend that I was having this interaction in the company of, he was very quiet during the whole thing, and he was trying not to like tell us both what to do or like tell us how we were being wrong. But afterwards, I was like, I feel like I was not having a really good interaction with this other person. I don't feel good about it in my heart. And he was like, you know, it was both of you. But if you would have like asked questions and been a little bit more open and not had this block that was going on, it probably would have been a fine interaction. But both of you came at it like completely shut off, like completely tight, and not willing to be open in this space. So I was like, shoot, no matter how much and that's not true. I study these things, I believe in these things, I try to cultivate these things in myself all of the time, but it's so honestly a huge blessing that there are still these instances in which our experiences and others in our lives can be excellent teachers of how we need to remain open and adaptable. There's been this statement that we need to be like water. Water is a communication. So we need to be able to communicate, and water is fluid, and water is adaptable. I don't get to decide exactly what all of my experiences are like. I don't get to decide exactly what information is presented to me. And if I am rigid against it, it's going to be just smacking. And if we are water, then we get to become more intimate with that experience. We can allow ourselves to see the teacher and the element in it. I was like, I'm going to misquote it, but when we forget that we are the ocean, the waves come at us and cause disruption. When we remember we are the ocean, we don't even see the waves. So we're going to do a little bit of flowy kind of stuff, trying to cultivate that very like water opening sort of energy in our practice. Go ahead and take your index finger and your thumb together in the very base of your thumb right here. Go ahead and bring that into the center of your forehead. And just start to wash away any tension that might be existing in the face, brushing out towards the temples. And then beginning at the sides of the nose, brushing out towards your temples, along your cheekbones. From the temples down to the chin, along your jawline. And from the sides of your nose down to your chin, along your laugh lines. And then bringing your fingertips underneath your ears and giving yourself a sweet little massage, pressing into that soft spot and upwards towards the bony spot, also lifting your spine up from that point. And leaving your back as lifted as you can manage without your hands there. Go ahead and drop your hands into your lap and let the palms face open. This gesture of being willing to receive. Take a few deep breaths and notice the continuous flowing, rolling inhale and exhale. Maybe even putting a little tickle into the back of your throat, cultivating an ujjayi breath. You might think of it as sounding like gentle waves in the ocean. And on your next breath in, let the air out through your mouth on your exhale. And again, like that. For 3 ohms. Your next inhale, feel your spine get a little bit longer. Lift from that space behind your ears. And as you exhale, relax your right ear over towards your right shoulder. Stay there as you breathe in. Just make sure that your chin is gently drawn inwards, not tough, just soft. And as you exhale, roll the chin down towards your chest. Inhale, lifting your head up. Feel that lift from behind your ears. Exhale, head rolls over towards the left side. Stay there as you breathe in, just to make sure that the spine is even. And then as you exhale, roll the chin down towards your chest. Inhale, lift the head up. Feel that space behind your ears lift. Exhale, tilt the head over towards the right. And I mean like the neck is even. You're not tilting the head back. And then roll the chin down towards your chest. Inhale, lifting your head up. Exhaling nice and slow, making sure we're not jerking the neck around. We have the tilt, staying there as you breathe in. Chin down to the chest as you exhale. And inhale, lifting your head up. Just one more on each side. Exhaling over towards the right. Soften the jaw and the neck as you inhale. Exhale, dropping the chin down. And inhale, lifting the head up. Last one, exhaling to tilt. Staying there just to tune in. Rolling the chin down towards your chest. And then inhale, lifting your head up. And if you're seated up on anything, like I'm seated on a block today, we might use it a little bit later. Anything that you have around is fine. Even just a folded up blanket will work later. So whatever you have around you is going to be good. Go ahead and hold onto your ankles or your shins if your feet aren't coming in quite so far. But hold that as close to your feet as is reasonably comfortable to you, and making sure that that's a place where you're still able to breathe. So if you're creating rigidity in your body in order to hold on right here, maybe back off a little bit. So you know you're not starting off in that space where it's difficult to remain fluid in your breath. And feel the fluid nature of your breath. Sometimes changing position totally throws that off. And remember, you are the ocean. And then we're going to start to stir around these hips. So start to roll your torso around. Sometimes I like a straighter spine, so it's like a stick stirring. And sometimes letting the spine be more fluid feels a little bit more organic. Lately, I've been feeling a straight spine is more appropriate for me, but feel free to roll around a little bit if that feels good to you. And then start to roll in the other direction. You can see I'm shifting a little bit, kind of rocking from side to side. If you give yourself a little bit of that freedom, you can make sure that you're opening up as much space as is reasonably available to you there. And then go ahead and come back to the center. Hold on to your legs somewhere that makes sense to you. You might notice you're able to hold closer to your ankles or to tuck your feet more in. If that's not the case, then that is just what you are noticing. It's not good or bad. It's where the body is. Feel your collarbones expanding and the upper back expanding. It's like your whole chest space just got bigger and stronger. Take a breath in and a breath out. And then extend your left leg out to the left. Bring your right leg a little bit closer to you or not, just depending on what's available. I'm going to lift your left toes, slide your left hand down, and then open your left collarbone. Keep the collarbone open, and then take the arm up and over your nose. Take an inhale. Feel this side of your ribs expand. As you exhale, soften the belly back. 2 more. Inhale. Feel that side of the rib cage expand. Exhale. Soften this bottom front. Inhale. Exhale. And then go ahead and take yourself up. Bring the fingertips behind you. And just let the heart open up and forward, rolling those shoulders back. You can look up maybe to the place where the wall and the ceiling meet in front of you. Breathing in. Softening as you exhale. And then sliding over towards the other side. So just switching the extension of your legs. Try to keep your left leg active, or your right leg active, this one. And then bring your right hand over to it. Open from the left collarbone. So really trying to spiral outwards. And then take the arm up and over the nose. All of these ribs expand with the breath in. And you soften right in your solar plexus as you breathe out. So feel that expansion, that opening, and the softening. Again, like that. And then coming up, bringing your hands back behind you again. Just letting your heart lift up and forward like it's going to float up and out through the front of your ribs. Lifting the ears off of your shoulders, even if you're starting to look upwards. Take a full breath in and a full breath out. Soften your heart. Bring your legs in towards each other. We're going to come down and bringing the feet together. We're going to come onto the seat. And you're going to take your arms in front of you. And then leave your arms in front of you. Try to leave your back, your shoulders where they are. And you're going to drop your belly back. So you really round through your spine. And you can even tuck your chin if that feels okay. It's not a big movement. It's just deepening back in the belly. And then as you inhale, lift your heart and your hands up. Exhale, soften the belly and the heart back. Arms go forward. Sometimes the feet aren't in quite the right place. If you bring the feet more forward, you might have more room to move. Inhale, lifting up, and exhale, rocking it back. Do that about 3 more times. And really drop it back. Once more. Lift your arms up again. This time, you're going to roll all the way down onto your back as you exhale, drawing the belly back, drawing the heart back. It can be as smooth and as graceful as your body is willing to do for you. And then when you get down on the ground, reach your toes out in front of you, your hands back, stretch out long through the front of your body. Take a big inhale. And soften and deflate as you exhale. Again, big breath in. Big breath out. And then bend to your left leg. Take your right leg up. Make some circles around in your hip. Move the circles in the other direction. And then take your right hand around your right knee or the back of your thigh. Your left hand can just go anywhere that's comfortable to you. If you press it down on the floor, it might help to keep your hips and your shoulders more even. Sometimes pressing it down on the left hip will help keep your hips and shoulders more even. You can change if you feel like one's not serving you. As you inhale, open this right knee out to the right side. Stay there as you exhale, let the belly fall back. As you inhale, feel that inner thigh stretching as you open the leg out. Exhale, let the belly fall back. 2 more breaths. Keep letting that belly, the hips, the ribs fall back towards the floor. And then bring this right leg up, and you're gonna roll it over so that both knees are twisted over. If this knee needs to be further away from you, you just slide the leg down. If it feels good, you can leave it a little bit higher. Take your right arm open. Take your left hand onto your right hip. You're going to gently move the left hip down and the right shoulder back towards the floor. This hand is just guiding. It's offering that gentle encouragement, not forcing, not determining for you where you should go. Just helping your hip to see the path. One more breath. Softening with your exhale. And then coming back to the center. Go ahead and set your feet down. You might wiggle that right foot a little bit further away and then take that left leg in and just make some circles, holding onto your thigh or the knee, the shin, whatever makes most sense. Rolling the leg bone and the hip socket in the other direction. And then you're going to hold on with your left hand. Take your right hand either onto your hip or onto the ground. I feel sometimes this is a little bit more connecting for me, but you might feel better here. As you inhale, open the knee up. As you exhale, soften all of this torso down towards the floor. Take 2 more breaths like that. Feel the opening as you breathe in, the dropping back into the earth as you breathe out. Inhale, expand. Exhale, falling back. And then taking the leg up and over into a twist. It might be closer than your right leg, it might not be. Bring your left arm open and your right hand onto the left hip. And oftentimes the hip will kind of lift up, shortening this side of the waist. If you just gently guide that hip down, more space may come. Maybe at the very least, more softness may come. I think some days I would way rather have more softness than more space. Relax your left shoulder. Check in with how the body feels with the breath rolling through it. Breathing in. Breathing out. And coming back to the center. Bring both knees into your chest. Rock a little bit side to side. And then see if you can rock yourself up to a seat in one rock. Just go for it. And then come back into fish pose. So you'll come down onto your forearms. You might have to wiggle on your hips so your tailbone points down. Press down into your palms and your forearms. Let your heart roll up and forward and let your gaze drift up the wall or the ceiling in front of you. Staying open with this breath in. It gets hard to do. The heart's like, I give up, I'm just gonna fall down. Try to keep that chest space open. See if you can also soften your throat there. One more breath in. Exhale, soften down. And then come up onto your hands. So leaving the fingertips facing mostly forward, out is okay, but mostly forward. Roll the elbows back. Leave your hips on the ground, but push into your hands until you feel the backs of your arms tone to lift your heart up and forward. Make sure all of the fingerprints are planted firmly on the mat. Stay here 2 more breaths. Give yourself a little softness. You wiggle the shoulders out. You can shake your fingertips out. if you need some extra space there. We're going to press up into altar pose 5 times, which is kind of a lot. But that'll be our arm strength for today. We haven't been doing a lot because it's been really hot, but it's worth sticking with. You do not have to lift your hips up high. As you inhale, push your heart up. Even if it's just bumping your hips up, that's your breath in. See if you can soften the exhale down. Inhale, press into the hands and the feet. Maybe your hips lift up. Exhale, soften it back down. You can even lift your wrists for a second. Inhale, taking it up. Exhale, lowering down. Inhale up. Exhale down. One more time, inhale up. Exhale down. Take your hands up. Roll your fingers around. Roll them in the other direction. And then we're going to come into child's pose. Go ahead and roll yourself over. Bring your knees out wide and your toes together. If it does feel better in your back to have your knees closer together or better in your knees, any part of your body, it's fine if your knees are not super wide. There's different experiences in this human form that we occupy. Let your hands walk out in front of you and then rest your forehead and try to let your armpits be soft as you feel that flow of breath in the backs of your ribs, feeling that expansion and then receding, the softening. Soften the armpits away from the ears. One more deep exhale. And then start to draw yourself upwards into table pose. And from table pose, bringing your knees in underneath your hips. In fact, a little bit wider than your hips maybe. So maybe not quite as wide as child's pose, but not super close. And there's more room around. In fact, let's take some rolling around of the hips on the thigh bones. Don't go so far that it's bothering your knees. So for some of us, it might be just a little bit more like divine feminine energy here. It doesn't have to be a big movement. If you have been going in one direction for a while, go in the other direction. And maybe it's just this tiny little shift, if that's better, to not go on to any unsavory elements of the knees. And then settling in the center. So I've got a little bit more space around the hips to hopefully be able to find some good fluid motion of this threading the needle. Take your right arm open, and as you exhale, thread it in underneath, just hover. And then inhale, open it up. Exhale, thread it underneath. 2 more times like that. Letting a steady, even flow of breath roll through your lungs. Last time, opening before you slide down and rest on the outside of your shoulder this time. So now that you've got those loosened up thigh bones and hips, try to relax in the thigh bones and hips. It's not a long time, just a good time. One more breath. Soften as you exhale. And then inhale, open that right arm back up. And go ahead and set it down. We'll go right away to the other side. Inhale, opening that left side. Exhale, thread it underneath but hover. Inhale, open it up. Exhale, hover underneath. 2 more rounds with your breath. Open it up again. This time coming down to rest on the outside of your shoulder. Resting the thigh bones and the pelvis. One more breath in. One more breath out. And start to unwind that left arm. And then go ahead and set it down. Take your right hand, shake it out. Spread your fingertips out. Take your left hand, shake it out. Spread your fingertips out. Curl your toes under. 3 breaths in down dog, or come straight to forward fold. So see about relaxing those heels down and pressing the hips up. Pressing the shoulders down into your palms, letting your tailbone roll up. The legs don't have to be straight, but can you relax those heels and your head? Last exhale. And then if you haven't already, we'll start to come into a forward fold. And then let your body be real soft, just the belly drawn in as you roll yourself slowly up to standing. And when you get there, find headless. Kind of see me over here. Okay. So your feet are right about underneath your hips. And let your arms rest down by your sides. Close your eyes if that's comfortable to you, or just look off, maybe halfway close your eyes. So you can lift your toes up and then spread them out, being sure that you're not holding tension in the feet. And then see about shifting your weight around like you're stirring your body around. So what happens if you shift your weight forward and side and front and side? Maybe you just go side to side. Or you switch that circle around. Maybe you go front to back, rocking until your heels barely graze up off the mat or your toes barely graze up off of the mat. Notice if there's any tension that's crept in anywhere in your body where your mind tells you, I'm not so sure about this business. And as you continue to do this, you might play with taking a foot off every so often. Maybe you can leave your heel off and one toe on the ground as you circle around. Oh, that was awkward. Let's see how it goes. Just playing with this, feeling the movement of your feet, greeting the ground. And settling in the center. Go ahead and bring your hands to your heart. Making sure your toes are spread out. Soften your eyes. Drop the shoulder blades down the back. Lift and open the collarbones. And draw those low ribs in gently just to feel that connection in your power center, right there at the top of your abdominals in your core. Let this core space power you as you inhale and open the arms up. Exhale, draw the hands down into your heart. Inhale, open the arms up, feel that core center powering you. Exhale, hands to your heart. 2 more like this. Inhale, lift it up. Exhale, draw it in. Inhale, lift it up. Exhale, draw it in. And then shift your weight to 1 foot. You might come onto toe tips. You might take the foot up. You might just barely graze that foot on the floor. See if you can stay lifted from that power center, lifting the arms up. Breathe in. Exhale, hands at your heart. 1 more inhale, lift it up. Exhale, hands at your heart. Shift the weight onto the other foot. Relax your shoulders. Find the breath again. Take 2 rounds. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale down. Set both feet down. Wiggle out something because probably something got sticky. And then take your right foot back behind your left foot. You're going to hold onto your right wrist. Give yourself a little side bend. Soften your ribs down into this power center so you're keeping yourself drawn in and collected, and bump that right hip out to the right. Soften the inner right shoulder. Breathe in. Stay there. Breathe out. Keep that belly drawn in as you stand up. And then switch wrists, switch legs. Drop those ribs in, keep that belly connected, not too tight, but connected. And then the right and left hip bumps over and the left shoulder rolls forward and the neck relaxes and you find that even flow of your breath. Letting out one more long whoosh exhale. Lifting to come back up, releasing your arms down, and then taking the feet out wide. All of these windows are shut and shuttered. I swear to you, I tried to remove the glare. I don't know what's going on. It's just, we're detached, right? Non-attachment, surrender to the light, I guess. Let the right toes face forward and the left toes face in. If you're feeling a little bit strong today, if the knees bother you, I want you to bend the knee a little bit less. So just don't worry about going as deep into this if that's kind of how your thigh is feeling. But if you can challenge yourself to remain here, let this left hip gently soften forward just to give more room around the spine. Because we're going to flow through Peaceful Warrior. Breathing in, lifting the heart up towards those right fingertips. And then down a side angle, so you'll take your forearm down and lifting that, it's over my nose, yeah. And then inhale, opening up Peaceful Warrior. Exhale, side angle. Try for 3 more times. Inhaling. Exhaling. You can even let your arms get kind of like fluid and dancey. Feeling the fluid motion in your spine. I think this is the last one. Inhale, come up to Peaceful Warrior. Straighten your front leg. And then you're going to come down, shifting your hips towards triangle pose. And we came from the bottom up into triangle pose the other day. You're going to take this nice and slow. Don't worry about how far you get forward. But you're going to take that left hand down and then walk yourself over. You can bend your knees a lot here. Just find the center, wiggle your hips around, bobble your head. A little bend in the knees, bring the hands to the hips, draw your belly in, come up nice and slow. And then turning over towards the left side, make sure that those right toes turn in too. Find a warrior two that's steady, that doesn't bother you in the legs, but it's still fairly strong. You've got that bend. Let this right hip come just a tiny bit forward, just because it gives a little bit more room around in the spine so that we can be fluid with the inhale, lifting up to Peaceful Warrior, and exhale, coming forward into side angle. Inhale, coming up. Exhale, coming down. 3 more. Try to keep your legs steady. Let your upper body be adaptable. Lifting up to Peaceful Warrior when you're pretty sure you've done 5 total. And then straightening the front leg. Letting those hips shift back as you come down in a triangle. And then you're going to come into a wide-legged forward fold. It doesn't have to be graceful, you getting there. You're just going to listen to where your body needs to go as you take the hand down, maybe bend some knees, walk yourself over. When you get there, try to relax the back of your neck. And then bend your knees slightly, bring your hands to your hips, draw the belly in to come up. And then bring your feet in towards each other. So with the legs in close, you want the big toe edges to touch. You're going to sit back into chair pose. It doesn't have to be your deepest chair. Try to keep your thighs and your toes squeezed in tightly. I actually can't go back very far if my, I feel like you can see me here, okay. I actually can't go back very far if my legs are completely together. So don't worry about how far you go back. We're going to do a little bit of shift of the weight from the heels without letting the knees come forward too much to the toes. And it can just be like enough to slide a piece of paper underneath. Drop the heels back. Inhale, lift the heels up, maybe a lot. Exhale, drop the heels down. Keep your legs squeezed together. Inhale, lift it up. It could just be a paper size hover. Exhale, drop it down. 2 more. Draw that belly in. And this time, stand all the way up. Exhale, leave the whole foot on the floor. You're just going to drop the hands and the hips back. You're just going to straighten the legs. Exhale, drop it down. 1 more time. Inhale, lift it up. Exhale, drop it back. Inhale, lift it up. And then bring your hands into your heart. And lift the heels, maybe a little bit, maybe a lot. Just inhale, come forward. Exhale, drop it back down. Try to stay connected in the legs. Woo, inhale, lift it up. Exhale, drop it down. It can be like a piece of paper hover, lifting your heels up. Just shift your weight up to your toes. Do 2 more. Shake things out. Roll around your ankles after having done all of that good footwork. And then come into, we're going to come up to the front of our mat space. Take your feet, your comfortable hip width distance apart. Reach your arms all the way up. As you exhale, fold all the way down. Make your knees nice and soft. Relax your head. Inhale, take the heart out and forward. And then exhale, bend, step it back. Come back to child's pose. Again, not having to be graceful. Just bring your toes out a little wider. Or your knees out a little wider, your toes towards each other. Nestle your hips back. If you're in puppy dog pose or if laying flat on your belly would be better, welcome to do any of these things. One more breath in. Big breath out. And start to bring your hands in. You're going to shift to take a seat. Take your right leg up on the inside of your left thigh. Adjust your tissues until you have your sits bones firmly planted. Leave the left toes lifted. And come out over that left leg, resting your right thigh bone back. However far you go in, make sure it's a place where you can feel that even, steady flow of your breath. So like water. Tension in the lower back would be very not so water-like. So you might just come back here and let the body draw inwards towards the leg. Thinking expansive in that lower back, like your kidneys could get wider apart. Soften into your next exhale. And walk your hands back. Taking your knee up and then leaving it here or out there or crossing the leg over. Bring your right hand in as close to your hip as you can manage. Lift up from behind your ears and your left arm and then hook the elbow here. Lift up and expand your collarbones. Drop your low ribs in and soften your belly as you exhale. Inhale. Exhale. One more time, breathe in. Stay as you breathe out. Relax that twist. Unwind your leg. I'm going to roll over back onto this shin and come up into Stargazer. You can stay here if this feels good to you, or maybe the arm goes back, or you can roll all the way up onto your shin and your knee and press your hips and your heart open strong on that bottom arm. Let your your body expand. And then lowering your hips down. Make sure to roll out your wrists if you were just putting any pressure there. And then you'll take the other side. Taking your right leg out, drawing that left leg in somewhere that's comfortable to you. Wherever that is fine. Make sure that your sits bones are evenly established on the earth. This leg rolls back, which lets your hips roll forward. Come to a place where you can feel that fluid, steady breath. One more breath in and out. Walking your hands up, lifting this knee up, moving it further away or crossing it over or both. I'm going to take that left hand in nice and close to you. Lift that right side up. Feel the back space lift up, not just the front space. And then hook the elbow over. Leave your right toes lifted. Soften your belly as you breathe out. Expand the collarbones as you breathe in. And keep lifting up from that space behind your ears to leave the back tall. Keep releasing something every time you twist. Big breath in. Big breath out. Unwinding from that twist. We're going to take this leg back up and over. Got this hand back. You can lift upwards and open into your stargazer pose or getting your hips up. It doesn't matter how long you stay up here. Just a quick lift is enough and then slowly coming back down. That's a great choice. Push the floor away. One more inhale perhaps. And then reaching your hips back down to the floor as you exhale. Come up. Go ahead and shake wrists out. And come down onto your back. When you get there, take your arms up above your head. And you can bend your elbows and reach your arms out more, but feel your low ribs kind of floating up and off of the mat. So you get a little arc in your spine. Maybe even wiggle your ribs a little bit further away from your hips, or your hips down a little bit further. I don't know if mine are going any further, but I definitely feel a little bit more loose in that midsection, just kind of by playing around there. Take an inhale. And exhale, relax your arms. We're going to take the arms down by our sides. We've got like some really, really long torso section, so lots of room to adapt into bridge pose. Feet are in nice and close. Wiggle your shoulder blades underneath your heart. Push down in your feet and lift your hips up and then wiggle your shoulder blades. And again, you can hold the sides of your mat or hold hands or hold your hands onto your hips. Try to push down in the arm bones to float the heart and then soften your jaw. One more breath in. And exhale, release the shoulders and then the hips down onto the floor. One more time in bridge pose. Wiggle those shoulders underneath, push into the feet. The feet are about hip width apart, knees face forward. As the heart floats up, as the hips float up, relax your neck, relax your throat. Let the strength be in your arms and your feet. Let your heart and your throat be open. One more breath in. Relax your shoulders, your heart softens down, your hips soften down. Wiggle your feet a little bit further away, knock the knees in. Allowing
in these next few breaths, the back body to soften back down into the earth. Having that balance between the expansion, the rising, the strength of a front opening pose like bridge, and then these moments of surrender and allowing ourselves to be held and refueled. Being able to move between these two spaces as needed. Gently roll yourself over and lift yourself up. Take your time with it.
So if you have like a couch pillow you can fold over, or a towel, or a book, it doesn't even need to be as thick as this. Anything that can lift your heart space up a little bit. Just gonna press that down. If your block is really big and you want to also put a pillow behind your head, you can do that too. You're able to line up so that whatever you have to lift you up, any little bit is going to go right underneath your rib cage, and then your hands are going to go back behind your head. If your head does not easily touch the earth, I would like you to bring your elbows up and hold your head, and you might stay here for just a little bit and then come on down. So whenever this starts to feel like work, we don't want any more of that. We are done working. We are setting into rest. If letting your head go back to the earth feels good, you'll do that. If you grab something that is too thick and you need to grab something a little thinner, you're welcome to do that as well. I find that bent knees generally leaves the spine a little bit more room, but you might need straight legs. You're welcome to gently, cautiously, experimentally determine which feels better today. Again, elbows in, holding the head up can be a little bit less back bendy. And you come out of this and lay on your back, removing whatever is underneath your heart whenever you are ready. If you are able to take 3 more slow rolling deep ocean with breaths with us, we'll begin now. Big breath in. Soften something as you exhale. Big breath in. Soften as you exhale. One more big breath in. Soften as you exhale. And then if you have your hands to bring back behind your head, you're going to lift your head up. Go ahead and take one arm, roll over to it, get up off of whatever you've laid down upon, and move that off to your side. Bring yourself down onto the floor. Just take a moment to rest and be held again. You can bring your arms out to a T or a cactus shape. Let your knees roll over towards the right. Maybe a little bit further away from you would feel good. Maybe you'd like to tuck them up a little bit closer. And take a moment to shimmy around a little and find the best space for you to be. And keep thinking of relaxing into your exhales. Notice what fills up as the lungs fill up. Notice what softens as you empty the lungs out, emptying the breath out. One more round of breath. And then bringing the legs back to the center, taking your time, rolling them over towards the other side. You might have to make some small shifts. Always make small shifts that help you to feel a little bit more balanced, a little bit more easy in your body.
Relaxing with your breath out. Last exhale. And then coming back to the center. Letting the knees knock against each other and the arms move down by your sides, palms facing up. Feel the breath and its fluid, easy movement. Even perhaps fluid without your control and direction over it. Just notice the way that it moves. If you would like to remain here, you can. If you would like to extend the legs out, finding that long Shavasana shape, you're welcome to experiment with that. Maybe taking a seated meditation or laying with legs up against the wall. Rest very well. Start to come back to your breath. Following any desire that the body has to make some movements. And when you're ready, bend your knees and roll over, turning inwards in a moment of gratitude for your practice. Finding a comfortable seat as you're ready, whatever a comfortable seat looks like to you. Bringing your hands together at your heart. Your courageous heart, your open heart, this adaptable heart, this heart that is always a work in progress. In sealing our practice, we release one Om together. Big breath in. Bowing down to honor the love and light that resides within each of our hearts. Namaste.
Have a good week, April.
Thanks, Sylvia. You too.
Thank you.
Thanks, Judy. Take care.
Bye, Judy.
Hi. How are you?
Hello, goodbye, right?
Yeah.
It's like Alice in Wonderland. Hello, goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Good to see you. Yeah.
Thank you.
April, I love your hair. It looks so light and it just looks like not sassy, but it definitely looks light.
It's
Summertime.
it's its own thing.
Yeah, no, it looks great, darling. It looks great.
Thank you.
Okay.
Have good days.
Thank you. Bye-bye.